You're now listening to the Zod and Drea podcast.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, what's up? What's up, people?
They have had a very filled and fun week. We can't wait to talk to you guys about it.
Yeah, it's been a really good time, I think. Traveling, we're on the other side of the country. We're a long way away from Phoenix, Arizona at the moment.
Across the country, literally.
Yeah, so we are sitting here in Virginia, outside of Virginia Beach, and we've had some entertainment.
And we've survived a hurricane.
Yeah, we survived a hurricane, too. That's something that had almost threatened our trip a little bit, but, it didn't. We worked through it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Hurricane schmurricane.
Yeah, Hermione or some shit. Some Harry Potter sounding. It tried to come in a little bit, tried to come in hard, and it wiped out a few people, on this east side, but they were wondering if they were going to cancel what we were going to do, which was have a half marathon.
Ta-da!
So we were signed up for the rock and roll half marathon race out here, and the one threat that we had was, being a coastal Virginia Beach, was for us to get swept away and have the whole thing canceled. But thank God,
it all worked out.
Day
of the race completed, and it was a beautiful day.
It was a beautiful day, actually. We thought that it was going to be a lot more rainy and windy, and it wasn't.
No, it was gorgeous.
It's actually a beautiful day to be out there running and exercising. So we got that in.
And a little bit of a tan at the same time.
Yeah, the sun shined a little bit. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And we're also going to get into something else. We're going to talk about the main topic. But the one before that is
we're going to bring up a little bit about all the controversy about Alicia Keys.
Yeah, like it should be controversy.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. And then bring up the question of the week, which is, should there be a minimum job requirement to run for president of the United States?
Like a minimum one. They have minimum requirements to run for president, but what about job requirements? And this comes from one of our listeners, so this is a good question to try to review and see what we can come up with.
Right, because there's job requirements for pretty much everything else that you can take on in the U.S., but what's required for president? I like this one. This is going to be a good one to talk about.
Yeah, this is a good one. So, first, you want to lead off with some of the good stuff, or you want me to do it?
Yeah, I'll lead off regarding Alicia Keys. I am a huge fan, no matter what, and I think she's talented, amazing, creative, and the VMAs were this past week, right?
Yeah.
Gorgeous event. Beyonce had a killer performance. Alicia Keys comes onto the red carpet, and she doesn't have any makeup on. What she's personally doing is making a stance, and that is for her. She loves makeup. She makes it very clear. She's like, I love my lip gloss. I love my mascara. But she's at a point in her life where she just doesn't want to be covered up by anything. And the covering up for her represents covering up of her thoughts, of her imagination, of her true self coming out. So what she has decided to do is not wear makeup. She didn't even wear makeup for the photo shoot of her new album. That's how passionate she is about it. But again, she makes it very clear, this is her own personal stance. She's not saying this is for everybody to do. This is a personal choice she made. So, since she's sticking to that, she shows up on the red carpet without makeup. And the Twitter trolls went nuts and started to spew out so much hate about what she was not doing, which was not wearing makeup. It was absolutely ridiculous, the responses she received.
And what's stupid about this was a lot of the Twitter trolls were women.
Yes.
Women were sitting there judging a lot of the other women who didn't wear makeup as if putting on a mask is much better than what God had given you naturally. I mean, let's say you're stranded out on a desert island. I doubt the first thing that you're going to do is look for a MAC kit, some Bobby Brown to throw up on your face. It's stupid. And I didn't know what the controversy was when I was seeing it on my news feed. I just saw, Alicia Keys, whatever, and I saw commercials for The Voice, and I was like, oh, look, Alicia Keys looks like she doesn't have makeup on. And that was pretty much the in and the out of my thought process. It was, she looks cute. I didn't think about it. I saw her head wrap. It didn't, I don't know. It just didn't bother me. So when I was researching some of this to look into it, she had been on, I guess, an NBC show in the morning, and they brought it up with Tamron Hall and Al Roker and Billy Bush. And yeah, they thought it was a good idea where they all just took off all their makeup too. I mean, even the men have to wear some makeup, but they, Tamron Hall, it's a cute little thing you got to look online. But I saw Alicia for the first time really up close, I guess, on my screen without makeup. She was adorable. She looks so good. She looks really good. She looks like she's like 20 years old. She looks really young, and it makes you wonder about what women go through, because there's something in society, and I guess now it's pointed more so where women are pointing at it, but where did it originate? And I'd assume it's probably men.
Well, and it brings up this whole point in conversation about why is makeup for women so tied to our identity? And that's the question that Alicia brings up when she makes this public statement, really. And she even stated in her open letter that she posted in May, again, regarding why she's doing this. She stated that every time I left the house, I would be worried if I didn't put on makeup. What if someone wanted a picture? What if they wanted it posted? She's like, these were the insecure, superficial, but honest thoughts I was thinking. And all of it, one way or another, was based too much on what other people thought of me. She's just clearly stating that she's like, I don't want to cover up anymore. Not my face. I'm sorry, anymore. Not my face, not my mind, not my soul, not my thoughts. So then, that type of, again, bravery of just not wanting to cover up kind of taps into, then again, why we as women will just have it instinctively. I know for me, I do love my makeup. I don't try to catch me. You don't try to catch me going to the grocery store without any lip gloss or mascara.
But why is that?
Again,
that's something you got to wonder.
And for me, I know it's a security blanket. It's like, well, there's something I do want to cover up. And then I thought, well, this can't be just me thinking that. So there's actually been recent studies that proven that women who wear makeup to work get paid more than other unmade colleagues. So it definitely is something that's part of society. Nothing's right, nothing's wrong. It is your personal choice of what you want to wear. But if you really want to look at down the road on, again, having to represent yourself, and do women need to do this completely to always have some type of equality, it's up to you. But you know what? I do want my MAC makeup if I'm stuck on that island.
Okay, I was going to talk about Instagram chicks, but we'll do that later. So you love that segment. But here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about some relationship goals that went on this weekend. Like I said earlier, we are in the Virginia Beach half marathon weekend that we had done this weekend, and it had a lot of people. We met up with our girl Jen Pagasdi. She was a Morristown High School graduate, class of 91 with me.
7-time race winner now.
And so actually 12.
Oh, that's
12.
right.
So she's done her 12 this year so far for the Rock and Roll Series. My friend Jen, shout out to Jen, has done 7, and she's going to go for more and put a lot of ideas in our head. But this is Dre and my third half marathon together. Yeah, this is our third one, because we did San Diego, we did DC, and we also did this one, the Virginia Beach one. And it was nice seeing a lot of the military people were out there this time around. You saw some of the older people, they were running it. We're talking like 70 plus. But it was also nice to see couples, and that's where the relationship goals comes in. It's like I wanted to know, when I was posting our photo up on the Facebook page, I wanted to know what other people like to do as well as a couple. And this is the one, this is one thing that we like to do. We like to get out there. I mean, there's multiple things that we do love doing, but I wanted to know, what else other people were interested in. And at this race, it was good to see some people holding hands. I don't know if you saw that. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw
the military couple.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they were a military couple. They were military because they had a military challenge, and it was run around the whole base also. So, you got to see people holding hands and just enjoying themselves, enjoying the weather. And, no matter what the struggle was, they were holding themselves up and pushing. And, we were no different. If I saw Dre, lagging, whatever, I always it's funny because I always look back. And she hasn't done as many as I have. I've done maybe, 20? It's probably maybe around 20 half marathons or so when I started back in 2011, since 2011. And, they're starting to pick up now. And I'm trying to go for 11 this year alone. But she's going to probably wind up doing 7. Yeah, you're going to do what, 7?
Yeah, I'm pushing for it.
So she's going to probably wind up doing 7. And I wanted to ask also online just what other people do as a couple. And there were a couple responses on our Facebook page, like one from Julie who says that she and her husband like to ski and go snowboarding. And travel the country. And that's one thing we also have plans to do. We want to travel not just the country, but countries.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, where have we gone already?
Canada.
Canada.
United States.
No, you forgot Canada.
Oh my
you forgot
gosh,
Canada.
it was so
God.
brief.
Oh, obviously she forgot Canada.
I crossed the other border and I forgot about it.
She completely forgot. So obviously I have to work on my own relationship goals so that she remembers some of the places that I take her. So I'm not doing my job. But it was nice to do that, and I don't know if anybody else out there likes to do some of the runs, but we're going to wind up being in San Jose together. What else are we doing? We're going to do
Los Angeles,
mm-hmm. Las Vegas together. Mm-hmm. We're going to be planning some of the runs next year also to try to capture and collect some more of these medals. And I'm going to wind up doing Philly, Brooklyn. We're also going to be doing San Antonio.
Oh, that's right. End of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a sucker for some bling. Look, if you're having a race and I get a medal, I'm going to try to be there.
So that's it. And Debbie, shout out to Debbie. Debbie also landed on our page and said that she and her husband also like to travel. So it seems like traveling is a really main theme, but what's cool is they like to travel and visit their favorite bands. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of cool to, actually have a mission that you're traveling for. That way you're traveling together, but there's also a mission. And what we do is we like to travel and have a mission. We're out here now on the East Coast after a hurricane and, Dre eating her Virginia ham.
Which is delicious.
And, being able to create memories. So, when you see us holding those medals, they're going to have a story behind them. Each one's going to have a story behind them. So whenever you see us holding a medal, there's a story behind it, a trip behind it. When you saw us in D.C., there was a trip behind it. And anything else that you see for us going forward is going to be relationship goals. And we don't just want to, show off what we're doing, but we also want to share with other people, and hopefully they'll share things with us.
And get creative and get inspired. Get some ideas. What to do together as a couple. I think that's, for us, is very important. That what can we then have for ourselves. Something for ourselves that only the two of us then can duplicate and make together. And that's what the challenge that we have for everybody in our lives as a couple. And then we also see you guys do amazing things together. Keep it up.
Once again, make sure you listen to the Zod and Drea podcast by subscribing to one of the following podcast methods: iTunes, Google Play, or YouTube. Visit our website at www.zodanddrea.com to go directly to the links, or if you choose, you can listen to each podcast episode directly on the website under their individual posts.
Want to get involved and have your voice heard on the next podcast? Then be sure to tune in to the question of the week on our website, Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram page. And dial in and leave a message on our voicemail at 323-963-4221.
If you're an advertiser who would like to have your 30-second or 1-minute placement on our podcast or YouTube episode, please contact us at info@zodanddrea.com and we'll send you a price list. Space is limited for each episode.
The next podcast might even have you as a featured guest.
Tune in, check us out, and get involved.
And we are back.
Here we are.
So we're going to address them what the question of the week is.
Yep. We're going to hit this up really quickly.
And it was really interesting to see some responses and what we're able to even research about this topic. So question again is, should there be a minimum job requirement to run for president? Mm-hmm. So if you look at anybody that has applied for a job here that's listening, usually on the application, one of the first questions they ask is, okay, this is the job requirement. Have you satisfied any of these given requests for a job requirement, right? I mean, for majority of any job, right? So
Exactly.
why shouldn't there be, or is there, should there be a requirement? Then same thing for the most important position in the United States, which is for the presidential seat.
Right.
And so we started to think about, okay, in our history, has there been any of the presidents that have had a minimum background of working in office, having any type of political experience whatsoever? So to find out the ones then that maybe had minimum political experience, but yet maybe some military background, or maybe only had a run for maybe a certain seat for a minimum amount of time, we've got a handful. But what was also funny is the different surveys and the different gauges that we found too was that you've got presidential candidates and actually presidential seats that were filled by those that had tons of requirements. I mean, that had tons of background. Like, you think about it, they were in multiple positions in government, but yet they weren't so great, and they only lasted one term.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, in today's world, my whole thing is in today's world. And let's go back to 2008. The one thing that they were doing was they were railing and shitting on President Obama about only being a community, organizer. Like, that was his whole job experience. This guy hasn't created jobs. This guy hasn't done anything. He's a blah, 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 and saying all this. And it's like, okay, well, what is the job requirement? What is the job requirement? The Constitution gives 3 eligibility requirements to be president. And one is to be 35 years of age, a resident, quote, within the United States, unquote, for 14 years, and a, quote, natural-born citizen, end quote, which is a term not defined in the Constitution. Those are the only requirements for anybody to run for president. That's it. So with this question is, well, what should there be a job requirement? Obviously, to a lot of people on the right, being a community organizer just wasn't good enough. He didn't know anything. He didn't have any experience. How is this guy supposed to be able to run a country when all he is a community organizer, has no political experience, and how is he supposed to be able to take on this huge debt that the Bush administration had left? You fast forward a whole bunch of years, and didn't we just come out with a jobs report that was like 4.9% now?
Yes.
Yeah. So in other words, this community organizer did a great job, but there are now 2 people running for president who are very unpopular, Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. And one of them is just a jobs guy. He has a bunch of businesses. He has no political experience. He's never been able to deal with anything. He's never done anything on a community level.
Nope.
No service. President Obama was a senator, so he knew the inside. He was in the insides. Hillary Clinton is an insider. She's a big insider. She's been around this type of political environment for 30 plus years or more. So it's funny that the language that they say, and now the right don't, they sidestep all that. Well, that doesn't matter because Trump is a big businessman. He knows how to create jobs. His job requirement is that he knows how to bring jobs in.
He's an outsider.
He's an outsider. So now they don't want insiders. See, before, President Obama was more so to them an outsider, but they didn't like that. And now they want somebody who is fully on the outside. Again, like the hypocrisy is absolutely ridiculous, but they're going to now get somebody who they believe has a job requirement that they want, which is a guy who, quote unquote, builds jobs. But let's look at those jobs.
Yeah, and let's not talk about how many times that he's folded those businesses too. How many times he's filed bankruptcy.
And we're going to get into that. But it's like, if it's a job requirement that they're looking for, that means in reality, actually right now, a custodian or a hamburger flipper or a homeless person who's been on the streets for 14 years and was born in the United States can run for president.
Correct.
And one thing that they were doing is on the left, and actually it was more so on the right, but a lot of people even on the left weren't liking the fact that Ted Cruz was running for president. Now, this is a guy who was born in Canada.
Lion Ted.
Lion Ted. Whatever. It's so stupid. He was born in Canada. Now, due to his mother being an American citizen, he was also a naturalized American. But PolitiFact says, but Cruz by being entitled to citizenship at birth because of his mother was a U.S. citizen, and by being in the United States for more than 14 years would seem to qualify as a quote-unquote natural-born citizen under the definition of the report. So, despite how you say whether he was a Canadian or not, he was eligible to be president. I mean, that's pretty much quote-unquote, that's point on point. That's it. He was able to do that. But is there a job minimum requirement? Is building jobs the only thing that someone can do?
And it blows my mind that that you can run for office for the most important public servant office, and not once in your life, not even an hour in your life, have you devoted yourself to public service.
Not one. Like, think about that. Like, Donald Trump himself has never devoted himself to anything publicly for anyone else except for himself. He's only done things. Okay, so he's created jobs, but why did he create those jobs? To make more money. Yeah, to make more money for himself, for his Trump. And if you don't believe me, why is everything labeled Trump? Trump models, Trump wine, Trump steak. Like, come on. Like, everything. Trump Industries, Trump International, Trump. It's an egomaniac. It's built to better himself and his own family. Now, on the flip side with Hillary Clinton, despite what you like of her, she has been a U.S. senator. She has been a first lady. She's been a first lady of a governor. Now, granted, that comes from marriage and whatever your husband wound up doing. So it was by proxy. But it's what she did in those times.
And Secretary of State.
Secretary of State. So she was chosen to have a high position.
And traveled around the globe. Okay?
Meeting foreign dignitaries.
And that is a tiring... I get exhausted just from going from the East Coast to the West Coast. I get a little bit of the jet lag. I can't imagine being in China Monday through Tuesday and then having to go all the way back then to LA on Thursday and Friday.
I mean,
without skipping a beat.
And I mean, she's also an attorney. So, like, she's a lawyer. She knows there are things that she knows, but her job she is vastly require what's the word? Overqualified. Thank you. Vastly overqualified to be a president if job requirements are what you're looking for. Now, saying, there are people saying, well, she's never created a job for anybody else. It's like, I don't know if being a big business person means that that's what you're going to do. So let's say the United States. People say, oh, my God, the United States is in dire straits. The economy is so blown off the dead, blah, blah. Okay, fine.
Dire times.
Now, I looked outside, and it was pretty nice. I mean, despite being hurricane weather, it was green grass, and people had nicely mowed lawns out here. The businesses were thriving.
I was just about to say, you don't see any boarded up buildings. You don't see businesses that have been closed. And you've got a great mix of public and private businesses here that are doing pretty well.
They're doing pretty. And even back home over in Phoenix.
Same thing.
I see the same thing. I see there's a lot of building.
More condos and houses being built that I didn't even predict was going to happen.
So they are building. And I'm wondering where this apocalyptic outlook on the United States, where we got Snake Plissken coming in with Mad Max and Tina Turner's dressed up, and I mean, we're like, oh my God, the Joker's out there doing this thing. Where is this apocalyptic
soup lines?
Like all of it, the soup lines, and the soup Nazis, like, no, you can't get any. I mean, everybody's rationing their rat meat and their dead cat meat. There's no. I mean, where are people raiding the the Safeways? What is this apocalyptic outlook that's been brought up? I didn't see it.
I haven't seen it, and I ask of everyone to just look outside what this fear-mongering is doing.
So what is it? So since jobs are obviously not as bad as people are saying, what is it that one person can do who says they can bring jobs? Bring jobs where, especially when his entire job was to outsource United States jobs to other countries. He could have easily found manufacturers all over the United States, but chose not to. So if his job requirement is to build jobs, yet he chose his entire career to make sure he outsourced jobs to make sure that the United States did not benefit from his projects that he was working on, why is he suddenly going to say that he's going to be the one to bring jobs
Right.
back in the United States? He is a contributor of that behavior and that work ethic. So he, as a jobs builder, to build for himself and outsource jobs to the United States is still a good requirement for being a president? Do you think?
No, and if you look historically at the choices that he's made and his shareholders, his board has made, there was nothing that listed as something that it was a choice that was developed and created based on patriotic duties or because we know this is going to help the United States. No, they knew if any decision that was made in that business was to help make sure that it affected the bottom line and the shareholders and everyone that's involved in that leadership got money. So that meant you manufacture something in Mexico. Oh, God forbid you're in Mexico. You manufacture something, then get the bits and pieces then in China, overseas. Nothing at all was shown in any of his business transactions that a choice was made based on, again, being a United States citizen and contributing to the United States jobs pool, if you will. Nothing.
And I mean, let's talk about bankruptcies. The one thing is the United States is already bankrupt, so why are you going to bring somebody who knows bankruptcy better than in order to benefit himself than Donald Trump? CNN, not only that, CNN is, I mean, IB Times has reported that hundreds of current and former Trump Organization employees have accused the company of less than fair or more multiple lawsuits. So they filed lawsuits against him, hundreds against him. In one case, the Trump Organization paid $475,000 to settle a claim with nearly 300 LA Golf Club employees in a class action suit for unpaid wages. And this has been going on. Like you can research all kinds of lawsuits, and we're talking Trump University. He has a whole bunch of lawsuits going on for that. But also on his bankruptcies, CNN reports that there's no major U.S. company has filed for Chapter 11 more than Trump's casino empire in the last 30 years. This is a guy for president, and you believe that he is going to bring this country to some sort of a big, huge rise, and according to him, make it great again. So he's going to bring it to some sort of a stalwart, empire that's going to be standing on pillars, with supported by eagles, and nobody knows how this is going to happen. In '91, he filed one for Trump Taj Mahal. In number two is he filed in 1992 for Trump Castle Associates. In 2004, he filed again for Trump Hotel and Casino Resorts and Trump Entertainment Resorts in 2009. This was all to save himself. Now, we are talking in 30 years he has filed that many times. One company, one guy. And he claims that successful businesses file for bankruptcy all the time. And at the debate, he said virtually every person that you read about on the front page of the business section, they've used the bankruptcy law. This is not how you get the United States out of anything. This is how you get the United States into something.
Because what's the end result when you file bankruptcy and you are in the middle and you have that type of huge business where you were required and need so many vendors to support that venue? Mm-hmm. Who gets stuck?
And those vendors do.
Right. Those vendors all of a sudden can't pay their bills, can't hire employees anymore because, Trump filed bankruptcy and he decided, okay, I'm going to save some money and just close business.
It's sad. So, a job requirement like his, as successful as he is, it shouldn't be required for president because I think his ego is way too ahead of himself to be able to think of other people. Hillary Clinton is way more qualified for that position, and this isn't a push for her, but she is. She has to deal with her lying, and she has to deal with some of the other things in her life. But job requirement, come on now. I think we can do better than that.
Definitely.
All right. So this was a good one. Once
This
again,
is great.
So good conversation. My girl Drea, and I have always just, loved talking to you guys and having all of the input that you guys have given us regarding this podcast.
Your input helps create this podcast and help keeps it growing too. So please continue to reach out to us and tell us your thoughts. Tell us your suggestions, and even maybe you can be a guest on the show.
And we'd love to have you as a guest. So make sure you sit there on on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. Write all kinds of comments and requests. Give us suggestions. And if you want, straight up ask us, hey, could we be on your show and how? We have no problem with that.
You don't have to be in Phoenix. You can be in another state and call in.
You can be in another country as long as the time difference is, good for us. So, on that note, I say farewell.
Adios. Until next time.
Next time. Peace.